as a 43-year-old who was born in 1979, raising three teenagers at this point, I think a lot of people think, boy, sure, I'm glad I'm not raising kids in today's world. And there is some truth to that. There's certainly challenges that we have, and everybody has in today's world. But I think we have to remind ourselves that there's always challenges. Human beings are flawed. We're all sinners. And I would argue that there's never been a better time to grow old or to raise kids in this world. And then today, a friend of mine shared this with me, and I wanted to share it with you. And I'm going to give credit to Ted Bauer, who wrote it on his blog in 2020. This is the first time I've seen it, so I wanted to share it with you. It is a mess out there now. Hard to discern between what's a real threat and what's just a simple panic and hysteria. For a small amount of perspective at this moment, imagine you were born in 1900. On your 14th birthday, World War I starts, and it ends on your 18th birthday. 22 million people die in that war. Later in the year, a Spanish flu epidemic hits the planet and runs until your 20th birthday. 50 million people die from it in just those 2 years. Yes, 50 million. On your 29th birthday, the Great Depression begins. Unemployment hits 25%. The world GDP drops 27%. That runs until you are 33. The country nearly collapses along with the world economy. When you turn 39, World War II starts. You are not even over the hill yet. And don't try to catch your breath. On your 41st birthday, the United States is fully pulled into World War II. Between your 39th and your 45th birthday, 75 million people perish in that war. Smallpox was an epidemic until you were in your 40s, and it killed 300 million people during your lifetime. At age 50, the Korean War starts. 5 million people die. From your birth until you were 55, you dealt with the fear of polio epidemics each summer. You experienced friends and family contracting polio and being paralyzed and/or die. At 55, the Vietnam War begins and doesn't end for 20 years. 4 million people die in that conflict. During the Cold War, you lived each day with the fear of a nuclear annihilation. On your 62nd birthday, you have a Cuban Missile Crisis, a tipping point in the Cold War. Life on our planet as we know it almost ended. When you turn 75, the Vietnam War finally ends. Think of everyone on the planet born in 1900. How did they endure all of that? When you were a kid in 1985, you didn't even think your 85-year-old grandparent understood how hard school was and how mean that kid in your class was. Yet they survived through everything that I just mentioned. Perspective is an amazing art, refined and enlightening as time goes on. Let's try to keep things in perspective. Imagine what your parents and grandparents were called to endure. Just crazy times that we live in and we've always lived in. So let's keep those things in perspective as we enter 2023. Be grateful of the times we live in, even as challenging as they become. Sometimes continue to persevere like our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents did. And smile. It's a great time to be alive. Have a great 2023.